What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff guy. Hey! And we are back again with another reaction video. Today we will be reacting to Ohara, and the title of this video is If This Is Why Shanks Helped Luffy Become a Pirate King. It's huge. Now, I don't fully know the premise of this video, but we're going to get into it. This is from Ohara, a big time YouTuber that I've done a few videos of. Have some of my favorite theories out there. He did a mega theory about what the One Piece was, or what the One Piece is. And he also did another theory about where Laugh Tale is located. You know, talking about it being under Enies Lobby. You know, it was a part of Jaya, and it sunk into the ocean to where Enies Lobby is today, right? But before I get into that, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. Also, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the video. Did you agree with something I said or Ohara said, or did you disagree with something me or Ohara said? Let me know in the comments. Also, follow me on Twitch. That's where I do my live stream. So if you want to catch a live stream, make sure you follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you are looking for a One Piece community to be a part of, we have a Discord. It's not a One Piece Discord anymore, but you know, we talk heavy about One Piece there. And I also have the Facebook group. So without further ado, let's get into it. The link to this video will be in the description box below. Let's get into it.
Luffy and Shanks are about to meet very soon, and for a good reason. It is probably the most anticipated event in all of One Piece, right after finding Roger's treasure by itself. Luffy and Shanks will clash in a race for reaching Laugh Tale, and the Straw Hat will be at the center of it all. Some people will tell you that this will...
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still holding out. I'm still holding out on the theory that Blackbeard will kill Shanks before Luffy and Shanks can ever meet. One reason why I think that's going to happen is because we know that Shanks pretty much told Luffy, just give me the Straw Hat back when you become a great pirate and we meet again, right? So the expectations is to see Luffy meet Shanks and him give Shanks the Straw Hat back. I don't think Luffy is ever going to give Shanks that Straw Hat back. Now, I guess you could easily say that Shanks is just going to refuse the Straw Hat, like, hey, you keep the Straw Hat, you wear it way better than I do. And that's very possible. But I think it would be way more impactful for the story if Blackbeard, like right before Shanks and Luffy meet, like let's say they're in the same area, right? And Luffy sees Shanks and Blackbeard fighting. And before he can arrive to, you know, before he can get close enough to Shanks, Blackbeard lays a fatal blow, and then Shanks is dying. He dies in Luffy's hands, bro. I think that would be ridiculously poetic, right? Like, and Luffy like is crying because it's like, look, I couldn't keep my promise to give you the Straw Hat back or whatever. You know, like he's crying because he couldn't keep his promise. So, bruh, like I think that would be the most impactful thing that could happen. But, you know, we're going to let Ohara explain.
Will never happen, either because Shanks will be taken out by Blackbeard or because he has been the main villain of the story secretly all along, or simply because Oda-sensei wants to subvert our expectations.
Hold on, I'm going to rewind that because I kind of want to catch what he said a little bit before.
Taken out by Blackbeard or because he has... Straw Hat will be at the center of it all. Some people will tell you that this will never happen, either because Shanks will be taken out by Blackbeard or because he has been the main villain of the story secretly
That's me.
all along,
I will tell you that.
Oda-sensei wants to subvert our expectations.
Well, I will tell you that.
I call BS. Because when you...
And I call BS on his BS. I call BS on your BS. Let's go.
really follow the breadcrumbs that Oda Sensei has sprinkled throughout the story, I think it's impossible to come to any other conclusion than that Shanks and Luffy will have to meet. And not in a friendly handshake, well done becoming a Yonko, let me now tell you a few secrets about the world sort of way. Luffy and Shanks will clash. In fact, all of the Straw Hats will have to face the terrifying powers of the Red Hair Pirates, and each and every one of them will have to surpass their current level to emerge victorious. And all of it will have been according to Shanks' plan. You see, the closer we are to the end of the story, the more obvious it has become that Shanks has been somewhat of a secret mastermind that has been pulling the strings behind the scenes, guiding Luffy towards becoming Pirate King and reaching Laugh Tale. I think what we all tend to overlook is that Shanks is really special. And
I think there is some legitimacy of what he's saying. Like, Shanks is pretty much like doing everything he can to make sure Luffy succeeds. I think there is something to that, but I still believe that I still don't think that it's necessary for them to fight. But what he said about Shanks pulling the strings in order for Luffy to succeed or become Pirate King, I agree. I still think Shanks is dying though. I still think Shanks is dying. But let's see if he can convince me otherwise. Let's continue.
And not just because he is a Yonko now, he always has been really. Shanks' straw hat, that is Luffy's personal treasure now, as we know, has been passed down from the former Pirate King Gold D. Roger himself. Now, this could have of course just been a random piece of clothing with just emotional value to Luffy, until we see this giant frozen straw hat on Merijoa that Imo is looking at right here. Whether or not it is the actual national treasure of Merijoa or not, the straw hat has a special meaning in this world. It's something the secret ruler of the world keeps hidden and very close to himself. And while I would really love to know who inherited the hat to Roger in the first place, what is much more important for us right now is that Shanks has always been wearing this hat ever since he was a cabin boy on Roger's ship. The hat is special, and Roger passed it on to Shanks when he...
And guess what happened after Roger passed it on to Shanks? Roger eventually died. Shanks never gave the hat back. Shanks passed it on to Luffy. Shanks is going to die. Luffy's not giving the hat back. I'm telling you, no. Like that's to me, that's the core reason. The hat, right? The hat. Because the hat has so much significance. The straw hat has so much significance in the story. It was Rogers. He passed it to Shanks. Shanks passed it to Luffy. Luffy's going to be Pirate King, just like Roger was Pirate King. And Joy Boy probably had a hat like that. The hat at Merijoa was probably Joy Boy's, right? You know, a lot of speculation of Joy Boy being the giant. And plus, Luffy's crew is called the Straw Hat Pirates, not the Luffy Pirates, not the Monkey D Pirates. Straw Hat Pirates. The Straw Hat is the most significant symbol in the story. Shanks gave Luffy that straw hat and said, look, when you become a great pirate, you know, then you could return the hat to me. Luffy's not giving that hat back. That hat is going to be passed on and passed on. If somehow there's a sequel, which, you know, I'm not saying there's going to be a sequel. Don't get mad. Hey, we had 20-something years of this story. We don't need another sequel with another 20-something years. I get it. I'm not saying that's, you know, I'm not saying that's going to be the case. But Luffy will probably end up passing the hat on. The promise was that Luffy will give the hat back. If I remember correctly, the promise was Luffy will give the hat back after he meets Shanks and becomes a great pirate. And I don't believe Luffy is giving that hat back. That would just make no... Luffy, that's Luffy's hat. That hat defined who Luffy is. And Luffy has been defining what that hat is. It's out of Shanks' hand at this point. So I don't think he's giving that hat back. Let's continue.
He was just a kid, presumably when he was around Luffy's age where he got the hat from Shanks. So there was something about Shanks that stood out to Roger and made him pass on that hat and his will to Shanks instead of, say, Buggy or his first mate Rayleigh. What exactly is special about him, we don't know yet. Maybe Shanks is actually a celestial dragon, maybe he's the son of Roxy Sebek, almost everyone is speculated at this point, or maybe, as I'd like to personally think, it will be something even bigger and more mind-blowing than both of these things. The point here is that Shanks always had Roger's trust and a special place in his crew. As we now know, everything changed for the Roger pirates once they found the One Piece and learned the true history of the world. Roger knew that he was way too early to change and liberate the world, presumably because the return of Joy Boy and the birth of the ancient weapons was yet to happen. However, Roger also knew that he could play the decisive role of making sure Joy Boy would actually return and ease his way. Remember, Joy Boy and the Ancient Kingdom already lost to the world government once before. So just because Luffy is Joy Boy doesn't automatically mean that he will win. Luffy could have died or turned evil or never had gotten his devil fruit in the first place. And so Roger really tried his best to make...
Yeah, I constantly say that a lot, right? When people talk about fate, like Luffy following destiny or fate, I don't think that is ever the case. I think Blackbeard is just as like qualified when it comes to destiny and fate. I think there are like fated candidates, right? There are candidates. There are people who are fated to be candidates to eventually be the person to do whatever it is that to pretty much follow Joy Boy's will, I guess, right? And I think Blackbeard is just as fated to be a candidate of finding the One Piece and being the Pirate King, just like Luffy is. And I think ultimately, when you go by anime standards, I think Luffy will succeed. You know, when you go by story standards, him being the main character and the hero of the story, he will succeed, I believe. But I don't think it's all just fate, you know, because Blackbeard, you could easily say, was one of those candidates as well. It's just he failed because he was too early. Let's continue.
Sure that Joy Boy is born and help him awaken and reach Laugh Tale. Only that he was about to pass away from his mysterious illness. So what did he do? He fathered Ace, declared the great era of piracy to inspire as many people as possible to look for Laugh Tale and go against the world government, and then instructed a few trusted members of his crew with finding and then guiding Joy Boy. As a result, Crocus waited at the entrance of the Grand Line for the right person to come, while Rayleigh was stationed at the entrance to the New World. And as we know, both Rayleigh and Crocus called Luffy the man Roger had been waiting for, and while Crocus pointed the crew in the right direction and told them about Laugh Tale, Rayleigh actually protected Luffy, trained him, and then prevented him from losing his will after Ace's death. But by far the most important role of all fell to the man that Roger had inherited his Straw Hat to. Shanks was the one who tracked down the legendary Nika Nika fruit, Joy Boy's devil fruit that had been escaping the world government's hands for centuries and that had been erased from the history books. Only that Shanks and Roger, of course, probably learned about its true nature on Laugh Tale, the last island on the Grand Line that contains gold, silver, the true history.
I will say this though, he's really not making any good points to disprove what I think about Shanks dying. Like, I get like so far, yes, Shanks is helping Luffy. I get that, but it's like he can still help Luffy and still die. Like, he can still die. They don't need to fight. He can still die. Come on, like. But let's continue.
History of the world, and this magic subscribe button, please press it so I can reach 1 million and make my parents proud.
Link will be in the description box. Go show Ohara some love.
Of devil fruits with him Shanks went around looking for the right person to eat it and become Joy Boy. My personal guess is that Shanks came to the East Blue and Dawn Island looking for Ace, Roger's son, expecting him to eat the fruit. But as we all know, the Nika fruit chose Luffy instead. And so Shanks made sure to do everything in his power to prime Luffy for success and have him awaken Joy Boy and become Pirate King. First,
Yeah, I heard that before. I heard that thought that Shanks was really at the at Fuchsia Village or the Gold Kingdom, right, to find Ace and to give him that devil fruit, which actually does make sense. I actually agree with that aspect as well. You know, because like, what is Shanks doing on some unknown village other than trying to find his old captain's son? I mean, sure, a lot of people kind of got the idea that he and I forget her name, who was like the bartender at the bar. You know, like she was like the waitress at the bar. But like a lot of people believe that, like, you know, her and Shanks was in some type of relationship, and she eventually had a child, and that was Shanks' child. So maybe Shanks was there visiting her. I don't think that's the case. I mean, maybe they had something going on, maybe, but I do believe that the most logical explanation of him being there is to find Ace and to give him that devil fruit, which we learned how important that devil fruit is. So what is he doing with that important devil fruit at the Gold Kingdom? You know, where Roger's son was. You know, the pieces just fit, right? The pieces just fit, unless the fruit was leading him there somehow, like, you know, was telling him to go there. Let's continue.
First, he passed on Roger's head to Luffy, the torch carrying the flame capable of changing the world. And he sacrificed his arm to ensure that Luffy would keep his promise to become a great pirate. He then spent the years chasing after Blackbeard, who with his devil fruit most likely is the biggest threat to Luffy and Joy Boy succeeding. He stopped the war most likely because Luffy was there, stopping Kaido from coming there, who was also on a mission to try and awaken Joy Boy. But most importantly, he has been waiting for Luffy.
Hold on. Did Shanks know Luffy was there? I mean, I guess maybe he could have predicted that Luffy would end up showing up just based off of Luffy's personality. But I don't know if I think Shanks knew he was there, because Luffy kind of randomly showed up to Marineford. Like, I don't think nobody was expecting Luffy to show up or knew he was on his way there, you know, and it would seem that Shanks was already on his way as Luffy was still getting to Marineford as well. You know, so I don't know if I think Shanks knew that Luffy was there. If anything, I could believe that maybe he was trying to save Ace, possibly. Maybe he was trying to stop the war, stop the execution. I don't know. But I don't know how he would have known that Luffy was there. I mean, I could see that being a good reason for him showing up. But how does he know Luffy's there? That's the question. Let's continue.
To become strong enough to finally face him and return the Straw Hat, carrying the promise to become a great pirate like Shanks. And this meeting has been foreshadowed and addressed throughout the story multiple times by Shanks himself. He doesn't want Luffy to see him during Marineford, and after the events of Whole Cake Island, he comments that their meeting is going to happen very soon. So I really think that the argument that Shanks might pass away before the meeting happens.
And guess what else we see when he tells Luffy, looks like we'll be meeting soon? Guess what is very noticeable? That scar that Marshall D. Teach just gracefully left over Shanks's eye, reminding us of Blackbeard's connection with Shanks. It's almost like that panel is almost saying, like, it's almost like Luffy looks like we'll be meeting soon. And then the scar is like, I think not. I'm telling you. That scar is the real foreshadow is really going to happen. Let's continue.
doesn't make sense, especially after the latest chapter. Yes, Oda could still somehow subvert our expectations here, but subverting expectations for the sake of subverting expectations makes no freaking sense, I think. Luffy
It's not subverting expectations for the sake of subverting expectations. It will make sense. Like, it does make sense. I don't know, like, I don't know how that doesn't make sense to people. You know, I don't know how that doesn't make sense to people, honestly. But let's continue.
Luffy's Straw Hat is his treasure. He wants to become Pirate King because of Shanks. Luffy will only accept that he's become a great pirate once Shanks says so, not because the newspaper calls him a Yonko. In other words, Luffy needs closure with Shanks before he can even start becoming.
And he can get that closure while Shanks is dying in his hands, as he failed to be able to give Shanks the Straw Hat back. He can get that closure. They can have one final conversation with Shanks telling him, like, yes, you've became a great pirate. I mean, story kind of writes itself here. It kind of writes itself here. I still fail to get any real argument against the thought of Blackbeard killing Shanks. I really do. I fail to see any real lot, or, you know, and I'm not saying that Shanks is definitely going to die, but if it happens, I fail to see any argument against that theory. Any good argument to really say why that theory is BS. You know, I get if you don't believe the theory, I get that. I'm fine with that. But to say that Blackbeard killing Shanks would be BS, no, it makes a lot of sense. And I fail to see any real argument to prove why it's BS. You know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning of this video, he said that would be BS. You know what I'm saying? And I still fail to see how that is BS. You know, if you don't believe it, I get it. You know, it's a theory. It's just a theory. It might not happen, but if it does happen, it would still make sense. Just like Shanks still living would make sense, Shanks dying will also make sense. Let's continue.
Becoming Pirate King. And so I think there is really no doubt anymore that this meeting will most likely happen very, very soon. Wano is over, Luffy has defeated the strongest creature in the world and has reached the same level as Shanks, at least in title. Shanks has already declared the race for the One Piece, and not only that, but he also has awakened his devil fruit, and we have learned that Shanks stole this legendary fruit from the world government, and Shanks is now on the move, joining the race to Laugh Tale. The most likely scenario is that this could lead into Elbaf, which has been foreshadowed to be both Shanks' arc and the next destination for the Straw Hats after Wano. And as I explained in this video, there is a really high probability that the last road poneglyph is on the Island of the Giants with Shanks. And so the Yonko will have a lot more to reveal to us and Luffy about his real plan, what he knows about Laugh Tale, and what he knows about Luffy's true role in the great scheme of things. Remember, now that the Yonko saga is over, that has spanned from Fishman Island all the way to Wano, centering around Kaido and Big Mom, we are now in the final saga, the One Piece saga.
Let's
and that
go.
means that all of the 4 current emperors will have to play a role surrounding Laugh Tale and fighting for the One Piece. Luffy, Buggy, Blackbeard, and Shanks. All these characters that have been shrouded in so much mystery will now finally take the stage and reveal who they really are and what they really want. So Luffy will meet Shanks soon, and I think there will be a battle. As I think we've established by now, Shanks is not the jolly, careless pirate that we meet in chapter 1 of One Piece, but a calculated, cold wire puller that has tried to...
Bruh, Shanks done cut off kid's arm, bro. that man is a savage. He ain't this gentle guy. We know that. I think we know that. But I do agree with Shanks being kind of a string puller. I do believe that. You know, I think like he said about Crocus being at the beginning of the Grand Line, something I never even really put in perspective, but it does make sense. You know, Crocus being at the beginning of the Grand Line, and then Rayleigh being at the end of the Grand Line, like right before you go into the New World, and then Shanks being in the New World, you know, like Scooper Caban, he could be somewhere. He could be like right before you hit Laugh Tale, right? Like he could be that last guy waiting for, you know, the next Joy Boy to arrive at Laugh Tale, but he'll be there like before Laugh Tale or something. Well, if Laugh Tale isn't indeed in his lobby, right? You know, but it makes sense though. You know, it makes sense that Shanks was trying to pretty much be there to cultivate the next Joy Boy or the next Pirate King. You know, that being Luffy. Like when he realized like, yo, this kid is the next guy. He's the next Joy Boy. So I'm gonna give him my hat, right? And Crocus said the same thing. Rayleigh said the same thing. Angel said Blackbeard killing Shanks before meeting Luffy is very unluck to me, but after they meet is much more possible to me. No, see, it's the scene. It's the scene. Shanks will not, like, I don't believe Shanks is going to die before meeting Luffy. That's not what I'm saying. He will be pretty much like Blackbeard. I believe Blackbeard and Shanks, like when Luffy is close in the same proximity of Shanks, I believe that Blackbeard and Shanks will be fighting. So they won't really have a conversation, him and Luffy, before that fight. Blackbeard will probably, what I believe could happen, how I kind of picture it in my head. You know, it's my own fan canon, right? It's my own fan canon. Blackbeard will hit Shanks with a fatal blow, pretty much killing Shanks. But Shanks won't die just yet. He will hold off a little long, and Luffy will be there to talk to a dying Shanks, you know, and they will have some sort of conversation. But it would be a little too late to help Shanks, though. Yeah, Shanks would die in Luffy's hands, you know, while possibly telling him some stuff like, look, I've always believed in you. I believed you to be the next Joy Boy or whatever. Like, they will have a very small, short conversation. That's how I see it happening in my head, you know. But the premise is Luffy wouldn't be able to give him the hat back, you know, like, because Shanks is going to be dead, and then that further fuels Luffy having to kill Blackbeard. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue.
To orchestrate the fate of the world for the last 20 years and prepared Luffy's arrival on Laugh Tale. And so Shanks will not just give Luffy a high five, good job making it here, and give him the last poneglyph when they meet. Before Luffy can actually give his hat back and complete his promise, he will test Luffy and see if he is actually worthy. Now, this could very well be in the form of an actual battle and fight. However, since I still don't think that Shanks is a bad guy or that he would risk killing Luffy, that's not very likely, I think. Luckily,
I don't see the point of them fighting. Like, where are the stakes at? Like, you know, like, I don't see why it's so necessary for them to fight. You know, I don't see why it's so necessary for them to fight. Oh, I'm gonna test you. Like, what, you gonna test me and then let me beat you? Like, we fighting for the One Piece. What were they fighting for? Is it just Shanks testing Luffy? So Shanks has to survive. So you could personally, you could miss out on a very interesting plot point just so Shanks tests out Luffy. Like, to me that's weak. That's weak to me. That's weak. You know, I'd rather see Shanks go all out against Blackbeard, and then we could really see the full extent of what Shanks could do. Shanks trying to pretty much stop Blackbeard from stopping Luffy, and then Blackbeard ends up killing him. I don't need to see a full on out battle, like full on fight, like what Shanks could do with him just testing Luffy. That, you know, there's a story, there's history with Blackbeard and Shanks. To me, there's more foreshadowing of Blackbeard and Shanks fighting than Luffy and Shanks fighting. There's more stuff at play with Shanks, between Shanks and Blackbeard, than there is between Shanks and Luffy. I mean, that's just my opinion. He makes it sound like Shanks dying at Blackbeard's hand is just for nothing. Like it just does nothing for the story. It doesn't do nothing for the story. It does a lot for the story. It gives Luffy it keeps the straw hat on Luffy. It fuels Luffy's need to fight Blackbeard. Cause yes, Blackbeard did capture Ace, but Blackbeard didn't kill Ace. So for that reason, I don't think that's really that much of fuel for him to have to defeat Blackbeard on a personal level. You know, yes, there is some personalness, the fact that he captured Ace, but it would drive it even so much further if Blackbeard kills Shanks. You know, it would drive it so much further for his need to have to defeat this man. And then it also shows how strong Blackbeard is, right? That we actually see him kill somebody such as Shanks. It raises the stakes because Blackbeard killing Shanks, especially if it's a one-on-one type situation. Blackbeard kills Shanks. That means Blackbeard has really grown. I'm telling you. It does a lot for the story going the route like that way. I would rather see Luffy wanting to kill Blackbeard, right? Luffy wanting to kill like Blackbeard being the first character that Luffy actually wants to kill. I would rather see that than Shanks and Luffy just having a fight just out of testing. Like I would rather see that personally, you know, because then that adds some character development for Luffy because he might actually want to kill this man. And so somebody's going to have to talk Luffy off the ledge and say, look, that's not you, Luffy. You know, you're not a killer. You know what I mean? I would like to see that type of conflict within Luffy, like having to go against who he is. Like Luffy doesn't kill. Like we don't really see Luffy ever kill anybody. So if he's like willing to break that aspect of not killing people and try to kill Blackbeard, like I'm not saying he will kill Blackbeard, but he would want to kill Blackbeard because of those stakes that are added to the fight. It will add a new dynamic to Luffy versus Blackbeard if Shanks dies. You know, I don't need a Shanks and Luffy fight. To me, that does nothing for the story other than Shanks just testing Luffy. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not going to say it does nothing. I don't want to say it does nothing. I'm just saying it doesn't add as much compared to Shanks actually dying. Let's continue.
Oda-sensei has prepared for exactly this scenario to happen, and it's the only arc in One Piece I am genuinely not a fan of. The Davy Back Fight. The reason I really don't like this arc is simply because Foxy as a character is annoying and the minigames the two crews play are fairly underwhelming. However, multiple characters, including Sanji and Robin, explain to us that the Davy Back Fight is very much a real thing that has been taken very seriously.
I do agree. I didn't like the Davy Back arc, Davy Fight arc. I know Cube loves to talk about that a lot, but I didn't really care. I do understand its significance, though. I do agree with the significance of that arc, you know, especially if we learn more about the Rock's pirates and how he possibly obtained such a strong crew through the Davy Back fights. You know, it's possible. You know, it would be a bit of a foreshadow. Let's continue.
By actual pirates. No offense, Foxy. The common belief that the island where this took place could have been Beehive Island, and that the Davy Back Fight was how Rocks assembled his powerful crew. But one way or another, it is the perfect chance for the Red Hair Pirates to test the Straw Hat crew. And it of course would be a much more serious and extreme version of what we saw with Foxy. It could actually mean testing Zoro's sword skills to the extreme, seeing how good Usopp can snipe and how strong Luffy's Conqueror's Haki is compared to Shanks. In other words, it's perfect. This way, Luffy and Co can show how much they have grown and prove themselves as worthy. Luffy can finally return his head to Shanks. Only, is Luffy really Luffy and the Straw Hats really the Straw Hats without, well, the iconic Straw Hats? Well, luckily enough, the Davy Back Fight has the perfect answer to this problem as well. Usually, the winner of a Davy Back Fight can choose a member of the other crew to join his ranks. However, as we saw with Foxy, objects are also accepted. If the Jolly Roger counts as a replacement, surely a Straw Hat would count as well. And anyways, Luffy would.
This is a little anticlimactic. For it to go this route would be a little anticlimactic. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this route he's going. Like, this route is just, it's anticlimactic compared to the Shanks dying route. I'm sorry. You know, I call it me being stubborn, but it's just nah. Like, I call BS on this. I'm sorry. I do. I call BS on this, but let's continue.
Wouldn't actually take one of Shanks' members by force anyway. But even then, I think there's a legit chance that Shanks might accompany Luffy to Laugh Tale. As we know, he and Buggy have never actually been to the last island since Buggy fell sick and Shanks decided to stay behind with him. And so I think it would just be perfect for the story for all four Yonko together on.
So okay. Because we know, okay. He's saying like Luffy and Shanks would fight before going to Laugh Tale, and Shanks, or in like a Davy Back Fight, right? In a Davy Back Fight, and then Shanks will end up accompanying Luffy to Laugh Tale. So, like, bro, like, it's like, that's kind of a, like, Oda's trying to do to pretty much end the series in 3 years. I mean, I don't think I think between 3 and 5 years he's shooting for, but that's just adding a bunch of unnecessary stuff. It's like adding unnecessary stuff that don't really add nothing, which is going to take up a good chunk of the time that Oda is trying to wrap this story up. To me, he didn't disprove anything. Let's continue.
On the last island and there compete for the title of Pirate King. And it would also give us a few chapters of Luffy and Shanks interacting, which really is all I want. And after all, Shanks to 99.99% has the Last Road poneglyph as well. If you want to know why, you really can't miss out on this video.
Alright, I'm gonna make sure I'll give him a like. The link will be in the description box below, so y'all go make sure y'all show Ohara some love. He made some great points, you know, especially about like Shanks pulling strings and trying to, you know, facilitate Luffy's journey. But as far as him saying like Shanks dying or even being bad, like even if the Shanks being a bad guy, to me he didn't really do a good job in disproving anything, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He made some great points, especially about like Shanks being a string puller and everything. He started this video off saying the idea of Shanks dying is BS, or him being the villain is BS. I don't think Shanks is a villain, but I don't think he did a great job of disproving either of those theories or proving why they're BS. I don't think he did a great job of that. He mentioned a lot of stuff, but some of the stuff he said kind of even fuels why Shanks' death would be even more impactful. But then he cuts to talk about them having a Davy Back Fight and Shanks going laugh. To me, to me that's not convincing. That's not like, to me that'd be kind of anticlimactic, and I don't think that would be wasting a lot of time that Oda's really trying to shorten the end of this series. You know, like he's talking about 3 years, which I think he also said realistically it will end in 5 years. He said he wanted to end it in 3 years, but realistically it will be ending in 5 years. So I'm going for 5 years. I think 5 years is realistic for him to end the series. And I don't want to see him waste some of that time, you know, having a Davy Back Fight with the red hair crew and the Straw Hats. I don't want to see that, you know. For that, they might as well just have a full-on fight, for real. They might as well just have a full-on fight. But again, I'm not convinced, you know. I'm not convinced, or I'm not unconvinced of the theory of Blackbeard killing Shanks. I'm not unconvinced. Let's just say that. You know, I do like the video. He just hasn't, convince me that, you know, the theory about Blackbeard killing Shanks is BS. That's all I'm saying. So that's the video. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Also, comment. Let me know your opinions on the video that we just reacted to. Did you agree with me? Did you agree with Ohara? Did you disagree with both of us? Let me know in the comments. You know, let me know in the comments your thoughts. Also, follow me on Twitch. That's where I'll do my streams of these videos that you are watching. So if you want to see me live reacting to these theories or my discussions or whatever, follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, join my Discord. And if you want to be part of another One Piece community, we have the One Piece Facebook group. All of these will be in the description box below, as well as the video that we just watched from Ohara. So make sure you guys show him some love. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Peace.